Чудово, ми можемо починати. Добрий день, шановні учасники. Ласкаво просимо на перший вебінар із серії вебінарів по підготовці до ЗНО з англійської мови. Ми школа англійської мови Грін Кантрі. Мене звуть Аліна, я методист розмовного та комплексного курсу в нашій школі. І щонеділі ми будемо з вами зустрічатися о 2-й годині дня та готуватися до вашого ЗНО. Насправді сьогодні буде наш тільки перший вебінар, а надалі буде ціла серія вебінарів в квітні та травні, тому не прогавте, не пропустіть. Можете також підписатись на соцмережі в Грін Кантрі, щоб отримувати всі новинки та анонси наших програм. Давайте починати. Перед тим, як я почну, дозвольте мені нагадати деякі правила проведення вебінару. Наші вебінари будуть проводитись в такому форматі. Я, на жаль, не зможу вас побачити та почути, але я з радістю буду читати ваші повідомлення в чаті. Тому, якщо ви маєте питання, або коли я буду просити вас відповісти на мої питання, або зробити якесь завдання, будь ласка, знайдіть чат і користуйтесь їм, надсилайте туди свої запитання або відповіді на мої завдання. Мова проведення наших вебінарів буде англійська, тому я скоро перейду на англійську. Якщо для вас щось буде незрозумілим, так само задавайте всі ваші питання в чат, там є наш менеджер, моя колега, вона допоможе вам роз'яснити питання, відповісти на ваші запитання, тому feel free. Якщо раптом мене виб'є з зуму, таке частенько може трапитись, да? Сподіваюся, у нас з вами не трапиться, але якщо таке трапляється, будь ласка, залишайтесь на зустрічі, я приєднаюсь повторно і ми продовжимо з вами нашу роботу. Якщо у вас раптом трапляються проблеми з інтернетом, з підключенням, так само ви можете в будь-який час приєднатися повторно та продовжувати працювати. Сподіваюсь, ми можемо починати. I hope you can see and hear me well. If yes, then let's start. I will be really glad to see your any reactions, any feedback to the chat. So if you have any questions, feel free to use it. I see some hands, yeah. So I see some, you raised your hand. I hope you have the sound and you can hear and hear me well. If you have any problems or if you cannot hear me or if you cannot see me, text that to the chat, my colleague will help you. Okay, guys, let's start. Today's webinar is quite general. We're going to talk about ZNO exam structure and about its peculiarities. Yes, so we will look at the structure of exam, at different types of tasks, and we will recollect what exactly you're supposed to do in each section. Also, we will practice some types of tasks, like the most, maybe not the most difficult, but just some types of tasks. Don't worry, during our next webinars, we will test all of them. We will look at all of them precisely, but today it's quite general. Anyway, if you have questions, text me to the chat. So let's start. I hope you know, but let me recollect. That your exam lasts 150 minutes. That is even more than 2 hours. That is quite enough, yes? And your exam is divided into 4 sections. I hope you remember what these sections are, but anyway, these are listening, reading, use of English, and writing. So 4 sections, only 4, and you have 150 minutes. So in the listening section, which comes first, you will have 3 tasks with overall 16 questions. So it comes first, and there are only 16 questions. In the reading section, which comes second, you will have 4 tasks with overall 22 questions. You will have enough time for that, and it usually comes second. Your third section is use of English, and there are only 2 tasks, only 2. But there are 20 questions you need to answer. And the final task, that is writing. Writing task, there is only 1 task overall, yes? You will need to write only 1 letter, no other tasks there, but you can get like 15 points for that. That is very, very very much as for 1 task, yes? let's look exactly, yes, how many points you will get for your exam. So if you do all the tasks correctly, if you answer all these 58 questions for sections listen and reading and use of English, you can get maximum 58 points. And you can get 14 points for your writing. So overall, that would be 72 points that are converted to maximum 200 points. So to get 200, you need to do all 4 sections without no mistakes. But anyway, you can do it. What exactly you will have at your exam? Yes, of course, you will have some exam papers. When you come to exam, they will give you some papers. First of all, you will get a testing notebook. It will look like this. So on the first page, you will see some, let's say, description of each task. You will get some clarification, yes, of how you need to mark your answers. For example, you may see that in order to put an answer on an answer sheet, you need to put a cross. If you want to correct it, if you want to put another answer on your answer sheet, then you need to scratch it the way it is shown on the screen, yes, and put another cross. Of course, it's better not to do it, and of course, it's better to work with the answer sheet when you're 100% sure about your answers, yes? And surely on this testing notebook, you will see the tasks themselves, yes? So there will be all 4 sections, and that is a kind of draft, not draft, but the paper where you can do whatever. You can draw on these papers, you can mark the answers, you can cross out, you can underline, highlight, you can write your draft piece of writing there. These papers will not be assessed. Why? Because surely you will get an answer sheet. The paper that will be checked, yes, it will be assessed. So you will get these 2 papers. The first, let's call it paper A, will be for listen and reading and use of English sections. There you will just need to put cross, yes? You will need to choose the correct answer, which is the correct letter, yes, and put a cross. On another sheet, let's call it paper B, you will need to provide your, let's say, fair copy of your piece of writing. Чистовик, yes? So you can see that there is like a frame, yes? Let's call them margins. So your text should be like in these margins, within these margins, and you will need to provide already the fair copy. So already after proofreading, after the draft version, you will provide your piece of writing on this piece of paper, which is called paper B. Okay, let's go next. Let's go to that question, internal question about the level of this exam. Surely there are a lot of questions that there are 2 maybe possible variants of exam, either B1 or B2. So what level you should have in order to pass this exam? Yes. So I should say that the level of ZNO exam is B2. So all the paper is in like according to B2 level of English. Yes, but there is one exception. Let's talk about that. I see that you raise your hand. So if you have any question, you can type your question to the chat, because I cannot see your question unless you type it. Okay. So what if you are studying at B1 level at school and you need your ZNO only as a final state examination? In that case, not all your answers will be assessed from your ZNO exam. So you will be assessed according to these 4 tasks: listening, like the whole section, reading section, like the whole section except for the last task. So only 3 tasks from the reading section will be assessed. For the use of English, only the half of this section will be assessed, and the writing will be assessed completely. So if you need your result of the new exam only as a final state examination, and you are not going to use these results for the admission to the university, and you are studying at school at level B1, then you can do only these tasks. So not you can do, but only this task will be assessed. But if you are studying at level B2 at school, and if you need your result of ZNO examination for the admission to the university, of course, all your answers will be assessed. So in order to use your results for the admission to the university, all your tasks will be assessed. So even if you're studying at school at level B1, but you want to enter to the university and you want to use your results of the ZNO English exam for the admission, then you need to do all the tasks because all the tasks will be assessed. Okay, so to read more, to read in detail, you can visit this website. There is a clear explanation of what it means. I mean, what it means B1 and B2 level for ZNO. But please just mind that ZNO exam is the same for everyone. So there is no level B1. So it's the same for all students. So you need to prepare at level B2. You need to have B2 level in order to do all the tasks and in order to use your results, yes, for the admission to the university. Okay, if no questions, then let's go next. Of course, we know the level, but what exactly should we, what exactly we should know? Yes, what topics, what vocabulary, what grammar you should know in order to do these tasks, in order to feel confident during exam. So what are they? Actually, there is a good list of vocabulary and grammar topics that they suggest us. Actually, it's very, very detailed. So let's look at some part of it. Yes, so you can scan the QR code and check the full list of vocabulary and grammar topics, like to make sure that you prepare in the right way. So actually this list is divided into vocabulary section and into grammar section. The first section is called Додаток 1 and the second section is called Додаток 2. So in the first section, you may see the list of vocabulary topics that are included in the tasks. Yeah, so you can face any of these topics at any task at your ZNO. For example, there might be a text for reading, like about one of these topics, or they might be a text for listening, yes, for example, about my family or my friends, yes, so, or for example, in your use of English section, you will be checked again according to these topics. So as you may see, these topics are divided into two levels, B1 and some additional topics for B2. So it means that these topics for B2 will be included only in those more complicated tasks. That is the last task for the reading section and two tasks of the use of English section. But anyway, B1 level, yes, you see that for B1 level, the list is really long. So you can check and make sure that you prepare in the right way, that you are aware of these topics, that you can read the text, you can listen the text about any of these topics. We have the same about the grammar, yes? So Додаток 2, the second section of this list, tells us about the grammar that you need to know in order to pass this exam. The list is very convenient because it's divided into subtopics, as you may see. And as for the vocabulary, there are some extra topics for B2 level that you might face in those three parts of your text that are more complicated. And as you may see, the list of topics for B2 is very short. There are only three sections, and it's not too many. It's about I wish, if only, would rather, and better, do you mind if, I don't mind, so that, for results and consequences, prepositions, and future perfect. So if you, for example, don't see the grammar topic of mixed conditionals in any of these lists, then it means that you will not face mixed conditionals in your test. That is good news, yes? If you see that, if you know, for example, that you're going to pass your ZNO as a final state examination at level B1, then surely you would not have topics like future perfect. I hope it's very clear, and also you can visit those websites that I provided you before, and you can check this information in detail. Great. So let's look at each section more precisely. Yes, so that we know exactly what we are supposed to do at each step of our exam. Could you remind me what section comes first? Let's try to test chat. Like, test me which section comes first. Listening, that's right. Thank you for your answers. Great. So when you come to the exam, you have these papers, testing notebook, answer sheet. The first what you will do, that is the listening section. And that is the shortest, let me say. I cannot say that it's the shortest, but anyway, it seems to be the shortest, and it takes only 30 minutes. So it means that for the 30 minutes of your test, you will be listening to something and you will be doing some listening comprehension tasks. So there are only 3 tasks and there are only 16 questions. Not too many, yes? So the first task, that is question 1 till 6, that is a multiple choice task. Let me show you it. So it looks like this. There are 6 questions. For the first 3 questions, you are supposed to choose the correct answer according to the picture. So the first 3 questions will be with the pictures. You will listen to the recording and you will choose the correct picture. For the next 3 questions, you will have like the question itself and 3 variants of answers. So it's almost the same, but there will be answers. And for the first 3 questions, you will get pictures. What is very, very very good news for this part, each recording, like you will listen to each recording twice. There are 6 questions. So in this task, there are 6 short recordings and you can listen to them twice. So can you imagine that like short recordings, you will listen to each of them twice. So it will make this task very easy, because while you are listening for the first time, you can do the task and then you will have a chance to listen to it again and to check yourself. That is very, very convenient, and it's very easy to do, yes, if you do it in the right way. We will talk with you how to do it in the right way. But anyway, just mind that for any listening task, you will listen to each recording twice. First time when you listen, you do the task. For the second time, you check yourself. Okay, the second task. It's more complicated than the first one, but there are only 5 questions. Questions 7 till 11. And it is a true or false task, and it looks like this. Let me check your chat. Thank you. So there will be a long recording. Usually it is an interview. So somebody interviews like a famous person or some important people, and your task will be to listen to this long recording, of course, twice, and your task will be to mark the sentences that they suggest in the task, either true or false. But anyway, first time you do, next time you check. Nothing changes, only that the text will be quite like long. It will be longer than in the first tasks, yes, but it will be longer, but anyway, you will listen to it twice, yes. It's like something that is very good about ZNO. And the third task, of course, it's the most, let's say, complex one. It's a multiple choice task. But yes, you will have also only 5 questions, but the text will be quite long, yes, and your task will be to answer some specific questions by choosing the correct variant of the answers. So it's more or less the same as the first task, because again, you need to choose out of 3 suggested options, but it will be more complicated because there will be more text to read. Like, I mean, like you will have longer questions, the variants to the answers will be longer. So of course, it's more complicated than task number 1 or task number 2. But anyway, you will listen to the text twice. First time, you will have an opportunity to do it. For the next time, you will have a chance to check yourself. So nothing difficult if you do it like with some strategy. Actually, strategy is the most important thing about ZNO, because of course, it's not possible to learn all the vocabulary, to know all the grammar structures and perfect, but if you have your own strategy, yes, then it will not be that difficult. So let's look at some tips, yes, for how to do the listening task successfully. Of course, during our webinars, we will look at each task like specifically, and we will talk about some specific tiny recommendations to each of them. But anyway, let's talk about some common recommendation for the listening section. First of all, you will be given like about 20 seconds before each recording. So before you listen to a recording, you will have some time to look through the questions and to look through the answers. So please don't waste this time. Use this time, read the questions, try to find the key words, like what you are asked about, yes? Try to think maybe about some synonyms to that keywords. For example, if you see food in your question, then you may think, okay, it can be like meal, or it can also be dinner, breakfast, supper, like any words that you have in your head. So you have 20 seconds just to read the task. Then for the first task, if you have pictures, surely it's not okay just to look at the pictures. Oh, so beautiful pictures. No, your task will be to try to name those pictures. So try to think, how would you describe those pictures? Yeah, we will train this task today, but anyway, if you have the question with some pictures, try to name those pictures. If you have 3 pictures of different, okay, let's talk about food again. Yeah, so first picture that is fish, second picture that is maybe salad, and third picture that is soup. So it will take you like a couple of seconds, but anyway, it will help you when you will be listening to the recording. Then listen to the information in the recording. Don't rely on your own knowledge. Even, for example, the questions are very obvious and you think, oh, I know the answer. No, listen to the recording, because sometimes they might be very tricky. So don't rely on your knowledge, and while listening for the first time, try to choose the correct option. So try to be attentive from the very, very beginning when you're listening for the first time. Don't rely for the second time, yes? No, try to be focused, try to stay focused from the very, very beginning. While you're listening for the second time, check yourself. Also, what is important in listening tasks, that is these periphrases. In other words, that are synonyms or ideas that are conveyed with different words or with different grammar structures. So the idea may be the same, but it may be conveyed with different words or with different grammar structures. For example, we know that talking about future, we may use present continuous or be going to or will. So we all use them to talk about future, but they sometimes may substitute each other. So be attentive to all of that. The same with vocabulary, yes. So if we talk like with easy words, yes, these are synonyms. And of course, answer all the questions. Even if you're not sure, never leave a blank. So sometimes you may guess the correct answer. Sometimes you can choose the answer that is maybe that best suits that gap or whatever, but never leave a blank. Maybe use your deduction. Yes, so never leave a blank, because anyway, you can guess. Yes, if you don't know, you can guess. Every time you can guess. So let's practice a little bit. Let's use these tips a little bit, yes? And let's try to do this task. So that is actually the very, very first task of your test. That is a listening task. And according to the recommendations that I have just given to you, we should do what? We should read the question. We should find out where the keywords are in these questions. And we need to name these pictures. So let's do it. Let me check your chat. That's about 20 seconds. I see the question. So we will listen to this. Yes. So like about 20 seconds, you will listen to it now and you will hear how much time you have. Okay, so let's look at question number 1. The question number 1 tells us, what dress is the speaker looking for? So the keywords here are dress and looking for. Yes, so Someone is looking for a dress or is trying to find a dress for some events maybe, yes? The second tip says that we need to name the picture. So let's try to describe these pictures. Of course, you will not have so much time during your test, but anyway, 1-2 words to describe picture A, B, or C. Give me your answers to the chat. How would you describe picture A, picture B, and picture C? So let's start with picture A. How would you describe it? Shirt, black, short, okay. But actually C is also short. Let's find something that is not the same for all 3 pictures. Okay, any words that come to your mind? Shirt, black. Long and medium, maybe. Okay, so I see your answers, very good. So let's call picture number 1, shirt, black, maybe cocktail, yes? And strapless, that is without these things, yes? Strapless. Okay, let's talk about picture B. What do you think about picture B? Dotted, I see good words here. Long, yeah, surely picture B is long. Actually, it's the only one that is long here. So let me do this way. So the second picture is long, black. We may say that it's a formal dress because it's quite long, yes, and it's black. It looks formal. We can also name it an evening dress, вечірня сукня. Great. And the last one, I saw very good words here. Yes, we call it either polka dot or dotted, and it's short. And one thing that is different from 2 other pictures, that is picture C. There is a belt on this dress. Yes. Okay, great. Let me check your answers. Formal, informal, yeah, good answers. Well done. Okay, let's go to to question 2. Of course, you will have a break a pause between these 2 recordings, but let's do it at once and then listen. When would the man like to be woken up? So let's try to find keywords in the question first. So we're going to listen about the man or the woman. So we need to focus on our man, yes? So we're not asked about any woman, we're asked about man. And we're asking when. So, and we have actually 3 clocks, but before listening, we need to name them. Okay, what is the time in picture A, B, and C? You can tell it to yourself or you can type me in the chat. 7:30, okay. Think about other variants about how would you paraphrase 7:30, because that is the way that we are taught at school. 7:30, 7:15. What are other ways that we can say? Not with numbers, but with words. What exactly can you hear in the recording? We can say 7:30, or we can say, one moment, or we can say 7:30. Yes, that is also a paraphrase. That is the same time, but with another words, in another words, yes? We can also say, oh yes, nobody likes this. Late, just in time. Wow, good answers, okay. Picture B, we can say 7:15. Okay, that is the way we are taught at school. Or we can simply say 7:15, yes? And C, that is 7, no other variants. By the way, it might be 7 a.m. or 7 p.m., like no difference, yes? Okay, so I hope you're ready to listen. So let's listen to it. Let me check that the sound is okay. And let's listen.
Now we are ready to start. Listen carefully. You will hear the recording twice.
How may I help you?
I would like to see some dresses. I'm going to a dinner next week and need something for the event.
Great. Is there any color or style of dress you would prefer?
Yes. Would you please show me where I could find a formal dress?
We have some in different colors. White, navy blue, black, and of different lengths.
I would like a long black one.
Right over here. Do you know your size?
Yes. I'm a size 9.
That would be in our junior section. Would you like to look there?
That's fine. Is there a dressing room close by?
Of course, it's right over here.
Thank you.
Okay, if you're ready, then we listen for the second time and we check.
Now listen again.
So we should check now.
How may I help you?
I would like to see some dresses. I'm going to dinner next week and need something for the event.
Great. Is there any color or style of dress you would prefer?
Yes. Would you please show me where I could find a formal dress?
We have some in different colors. White, navy blue, black, and of different lengths.
I would like a long black one.
Right over here. Do you know your size?
Yes. I'm a size 9.
That would be in our junior section. Would you like to look there?
That's fine. Is there a dressing room close by?
Of course, it's right over here.
Thank you.
So, if you're ready, you can give me your answers to the chat. I see a lot of correct answers. Surely that is B. Yes? Let's listen to the second.
Now look at the 3 pictures for question 2. I need to request a wake-up call for tomorrow morning.
What time do you want the call?
I need a call at 7 in the morning. Oh, maybe it's too early. 7:15 would be okay.
We can certainly do that. Expect a call from us at 7:15.
Actually, can I change the time for 7:30?
I can certainly do that. Is there anything else?
I can't think of anything. If I do think of something, I'll be sure to call again.
Okay. Good night, sir.
Okay, the man sounds not very sure, yes? But let's listen again and let's check
Now
yourself.
listen again. I need to request a wake-up call for tomorrow morning.
What time do you want the call?
I need a call at 7 in the morning. Oh, maybe it's too early. 7:15 would be okay.
We can certainly do that. Expect a call from us at 7:15.
Actually, can I change the time for 7:30?
I can certainly do that. Is there anything else?
I can't think of anything. If I do think of something, I'll be sure to call again.
Okay. Good night, sir.
Okay, I see already some correct answers. Okay. Great. A. Yeah, so it was not difficult, yes, because you listened
Now
to
we are
it
ready to
twice.
start. Listen carefully.
The first one
You
was
will hear
A.
the recording twice.
One moment. Yes, the first one was B. Yes, that was a long dress, so we could clearly hear that I want a long dress. And for the second recording, yeah, it might look tricky because the man was not sure what time he would like to be woken up. But anyway, the final sentence was 7:30, not 7:30, but 7:30. So when you try to name the pictures, think about different names, different ways how you can name it, yes? Okay, guys, so that was about listening. Surely we will have more practice of listening during our following webinars. Let's go to the second section. Let me check your answer. Great, let's go to the reading. Reading comes second. And actually, that is one of the most favorite parts. I don't know why, but students like this part because it seems easier than listening, because in listening, you need to stay focused, very focused, because you will not have any other chance, yes, to do that. In reading, everything is a little bit simpler, maybe, but let's look. So 4 questions, 4 tasks, with 22 questions. So how they are divided. So the first task, that is task 4 already in your exam, that is a matching task. And it looks like this. So you will get 5 short abstracts, 5 short paragraphs. This might be advertisement or announcements, like very, very short. And your task will be to match them with their main idea. So you will skim it, you will find the main idea, what, for example, they offer it to people or what they advertise, and then you will need to choose the correct option. Be careful. What is a trick with the reading section is that in all tasks, you will have these extra options, yes? For example, in task 4, there are 5 paragraphs, that you need to match, but there are 8 options. So there are 8 variants of answers. So when you're ready, you will need to check whether those 3 that are left, like whether they don't suit any of the paragraphs. Yes. So be attentive with extra options during your reading section. Okay, task number 5, that is a multiple choice task. And of course, it's more complicated than task 4, because here you will have a long text, a longer text, let's say, yes. And here you will have more text to read, because here you will have questions about this text, and your task will be to choose the correct variant of the answer out of 4. So you will have 4 variants to each question, and your task will be to choose the best one. Let's go to task number 6. It's matching as task number 4, but it's more complex, because here you will have even a longer text. It might be one text divided into different paragraphs, but it might be also a set of short texts, like you can see on my screen. So it might be full text divided into paragraphs, or it might be a set of short text. So each text is devoted to a different topic. And the task is completely the same as in task 4. Your task will be to decide what's the main idea of each paragraph and to match it by choosing the correct option. Again, you will have 6 paragraphs, and there will be 2 extra options if we talk about variants. So be careful. And task number 7, which is considered to be the most complicated one, and it is assessed at level B2. So if you are doing B1 for your final state examination, you will not be assessed at this task. So because it is considered the most complicated one, it's level B2. And it's a little bit different than any other tasks in listening and reading. In this task, you will have a text, but with some gaps. And your task will be to fill in the gaps. Usually, these are the endings of the sentences. So you will have the text, and some sentences will not be completed. And your task will be to choose the correct ending for these sentences. Again, there are only like 5 gaps. But 6 gaps, but again you have these 2 extra options, and that is quite tricky. So as usual, we will look at each task more precisely during our next webinars. Now I suggest you some common tips for this reading section that might help you with any task. Yes. So first of all, what's important with the reading task, the same as with the listening, is to read the questions and find the keywords. And then when you read the task, you need to find the keywords in the text that match the keywords in the questions. So more or less, you will need to do that. Yes, for example, with task 2, when you will need to answer the questions. Yes. Also, be careful with the words or phrases from the text when you find them in the questions. Sometimes they put these words, like the same words in questions, the same words in text, and it seems that they match each other and that is the correct answer. No, they usually do it, the creators of ZNO, in order to mislead you, заплутати. Yes, in order to mislead you and lead you to the wrong answer. So be attentive to details. Yes, so here you need to be sometimes you need to pay attention to details. Next, remember that you have this texting notebook, and you're allowed to take any notes. You're allowed to draw, highlight, underline something. So feel free to do it. When you read this long text, for example, for task 2 or 3, surely you will need to underline or highlight or make or take notes. So feel free to do that. Also, never leave a blank, the same as with listening, the same as with reading, with any task. Never leave a blank, choose the best option, the option with which you mostly agree. So you will have time to think. You may leave this question and come back to it later. For example, I don't know, you may circle this very difficult task for you and come to it later when everything else is done. So it's okay, but never leave a blank. And when the task is completed, yes, check the remaining options. Remember that in reading sections, there are always these extra options. So make sure that these extra options, extra sentences, extra, words don't match any of the suggested paragraphs or texts. So if you're not sure, then check. But anyway, it's a good idea to check these extra options as well. Okay, so I suggest today we'll look with you at task 7, at the most complicated one. It's a bit different. That's why as a strategy should be a little bit different. First of all, you need to look through the text briefly. Surely you will not look at the answers. Here it's better to look first at the text and to read it very briefly. While reading, stop at these gaps and try to predict, передбачити, what can be in that gap. So maybe it's an object, time, place, description. So try to guess what kind of information is needed, what kind of information can be skipped, missed there, yes? So prediction is very important for this task. Then choose the best option and check whether this option suits the gap. So check whether subject-verb agreement is okay. So it means that the subject and the verb agrees. For example, if you have subject singular, then the verb in present tense should be with letter S. So make sure there is this agreement between subject and verb, noun and pronoun. For example, there was she, then the pronoun should be her, not his. Yes, so try to check all these agreements. They will help you to avoid mistakes. When the text is ready, reread it. One moment, I will check the chat. Okay, so reread it. So when everything is done, all gaps, like you have done all the gaps, you have filled in all the gaps, reread the text. It will take you 1, 2, maybe 3 minutes, but it's worth doing it. Believe me, it's worth doing it, because when you read the completed text, you can make sure that it makes sense, that all these sentences, they suit each other. And surely, as usual, you have extra options in reading section. Make sure that those extra options, there are 2 of them, don't suit any of the gaps. So anyway, in any reading task, make sure these extra options don't suit any of the gaps or any of the paragraphs or whatever. Okay, so there are 6 tips. So let's look at the text itself. That is how it may look like. So, and according to our okay, I think I can answer this question at the end of our webinar. For example, if you are studying at level B2 at school, or you need your result of the ZNO state exam for your admission to the university, this task will be assessed. So this task will be assessed anyway if you need your ZNO results for the admission to the university. So let's look at this task and let's try to follow those tips. So according to those tips, it says us, the tip number 1 says that we need to predict, передбачити. So let's look at gap number 33 and let's try to predict, let's try to think what can go there. Okay, as usual, give me your answers to the chat. I will read it aloud. So let's go. One moment, I hope you can see my screen well. So the team led by researchers from the University of Melbourne was studying and then gap, their temperature. So let's look at the word studying. So this team was studying gap, their temperature. So what can be in that gap? We know that we can study something, for example, an object or a thing. Yes, so it can be a noun, iменник, or we can study how, when, where. So after the verb study, we can use either object, something, or any of relative pronouns. For example, where, when, how, whatever. Yes, so either. We will see. Next, let's read the second sentence with the gap. However, scientists have unlocked that koalas hug trees, gap, and avoid dehydration during hot Australian summer. Let's look at the words that precede this gap and that follow this gap. And we see that, for example, we have after the gap, we have and, avoid. We know that and is a conjunction, сполучник, that usually connects two homogeneous words or phrases or parts, однорідні, yes? For example, if we have avoid, infinitive. Then before and there should also be an infinitive, either with to or without to, but there should be an infinitive. So let's remember that for number 34, we will be looking for an infinitive. Тобто пам'ятаємо, що в номері 34 нам потрібен буде інфінітив. Let's go to number 5. In a study published in the Royal Society Journal Biology Letters, scientists used thermal cameras to reveal that gap was hot. The animals moved to the lower, cooler parts of the trees. We have that gap was hot. What do you think? What can be there? So I explained you the strategy for the first two gaps. Now it's your turn to do something and avoid. That's right. For number 34, that is the correct answer. What about 35? What do you think? The gap is followed by was. Was hot. So it should be either singular noun, that's right, I see the correct answer, or an uncountable noun. Something that we cannot count because we have was. Was that is singular. So let's agree, we will check. One moment. Let's go next. Let me read number, one moment. Number 36. Natalie Brown said that there is a 5-degree difference in temperature, and then we have a gap. Yes? So what do you think? What can be here? Any guesses? So here I underlined there is for you, because if we have structure there is, it means that we are talking about some place. So surely they are talking about some place. What do you think? What can go in the gap? Let me check your answers. I'm sorry that I'm so slow because I need temperature graphics. Okay. Any other guesses? So we have there is. We usually use the structure when we talk about the place. So in number 36, I see a lot of correct answers. I think it will be very easy for you to do this task. So in gap 36, there should be a place. We usually describe a place with prepositions of place. Yes, do you know prepositions of place? It might be at, in, around, between. Yes, so let's check whether we will have a preposition of place. Let's go to number 37. Access to these trees, and then we have a gap. A koala would need to keep cool on a hot day. So we have the subject, but we don't have the predicate. У нас є підмет, але нема присудка. So we can assume that in this sentence we would need a predicate. A predicate, присудок, it's usually a verb. Це дієслово, that's right. And we have access, which is uncountable, which is singular. Then surely the verb will be like in the singular form. Yes, maybe it will be with the ending S. And the last one, the koala's cooling technique could be one way for humans gap. Let's check what I underlined here. One way. So what can we use after way? What can we use after way? Okay. I even see the full answers. Okay. What about number 38? Could be one way for humans. So what is usually, what usually follows way? Way of doing something or way? We can say way of doing something or way. I'm waiting for your answers. So it might be way of doing something or way, I see the right answer, to do something or to be something. Like it might be like with preposition or with infinitive. Yes, a way of doing something or a way to do something. Now I will show you the options and try to remember all those information that we have just predicted with you. And even don't read the text for the second time. So you don't need to read it, but try to choose the correct answer according to those information that we have just discussed. Okay, variants, this variant and this variant. Even don't read. So try even not read, but try to fill in the gaps with those, let's say, characteristics of these gaps. And give me your answers to the chat and we will check. I see the answers, the first answer. So let me check with you. So the first one is surely G. Remember, study something or study relative pronoun. In G, we have what? We have, I cannot see it, but we have hopefully the relative pronoun. Okay, let's go to number 34. Okay, let me check your answers. I see answers to 34, then I think I can show it. That is D. Remember, and avoid. So we need an infinitive, yeah, so that they become homogeneous, щоб вони були однорідними. Remember that conjunction and any other conjunction, yes, that we use but, so, if they connect two words, they should be homogeneous. So they should be the same part of speech, they should be the same structure. So to keep and avoid. Keep and avoid are infinitive, so they can be connected with and. Okay, number 35, reveal that, and we need either singular or uncountable noun, and that is weather, because age, when the weather was hot, weather was hot. Great, number 36. There is a 5-degree difference in temperature and we need a place. Yes, remember, because usually we use there is when we talk about some places. And we have preposition of place, between. Actually, any other variant will not suit this cap. Only this variant will suit this cap, like no other variants. Okay, access to these trees, gap a koala would need. We talked about the verbs, there should be a predicate, yes? So the verb might be a simple verb or it might be a modal verb. That's something that I forgot to mention. So number 37, I see the correct answers. That is F, can, yes? Let me show your chat. Yes, that's right, 37, that is F. So it might be a simple verb, like any other action verb, or it might be a modal verb. Access, can. Great, and the last one, remember, a way of doing something or a way to do something. And the last one surely will be, I see the correct answers. Great job, guys. And that is E, yes? To survive increasingly hot summers, a way to do something. So that is a strategy, that is all that can be used for this type of task for the reading. It may seem difficult, but if you do it this way, if you predict while reading, yes, remember in this type of task, you need to start with reading the text and predict what can be there. If you don't know the vocabulary, even sometimes it's possible that you don't understand like the half of the text, but knowing these tiny grammar tricks, you can easily do this task without any mistakes. So think about some logic. Yes, if you have the is, think about place. If you have like and conjunction, remember that conjunction can connect two homogeneous parts and whatever. Okay, let's go next. The next part, that is use of English part. There are only 2 tasks, but there are 20 questions. And they are divided into 2 tasks. Task number 8, that is fill in the gaps vocabulary, and task number 9, that is fill in the gaps grammar. So task number 8 will test your knowledge of vocabulary. Task number 9 will look the same, so it's completely the same. It just text with some gaps, and in order to fill these gaps, you have 4 options for each gap. So the tasks are the same. I mean, like they look the same. But the first task, task 8, tests your knowledge of vocabulary. Task number 9 is aimed to check your knowledge of grammar. Okay, so usually what you can see, yes, usually this task, task 8 and task 9 are divided into 2 texts. So first you will have text 1 for task 8, and then text 2 for task 8. Then text 1 for task 9 and text 2 for task 9. So usually for each of these tasks, you will have 2 texts. In each text, there will be 5 gaps. Actually, The main strategy here is, of course, to know the grammar and vocabulary. What can be the strategies, yes, for this part of your exam? But anyway, you need to do it before your exam. You need to enrich your vocabulary. You need to revise your grammar. Yes, you need to do all that before your exam, not during the exam. It's not possible to know all those words during the exam. That's why this part is considered one of the most difficult, because you can never be 100% prepared, because you don't know what words or what grammar structures will be there. But anyway, I tried to figure out some recommendations for you. So first of all, what can help you? It's to skim the text. Anyway, your task is to fill in the gaps, but anyways, it will be a text. So it will have some main idea. If it is a text, then it has some main idea. Maybe if you don't know all the words, maybe by skimming the text, you will understand its main idea, and it will be easier for you to fill in those gaps. So anyway, remember, if you have text, then the text should have the main idea, and it may help you to fill in the gaps. Maybe you will recollect some vocabulary. Okay, then choose one option out of the 4 suggested according to the context and grammatical agreement. So we know already with you that all words should agree with each other, especially subject and predicate, yes, noun and pronoun, they should agree with each other. So anytime you fill in the gap, make sure that it makes sense according to the context. So it's okay according to its meaning, lexical meaning, and make sure that it suits the gap according to the grammar. So it can be there according to to the grammar. So these 2 things you should keep in your mind. Then pay attention to the words text before and after each gap. And something similar that we have just done with you, yes? Look at what precedes the gap and what follows the gap, yes? So the gap is not somewhere, it's in the text. So look what comes before, what comes next. So it will help you. If you have any doubts, leave the question and come back to it later. Again, if you don't know, if you don't know at all, if you don't know the meaning of all these 4 words, I don't believe it will happen, but no, it will not happen. At least half of the words will be clear to you. I mean, the words in the options, yes? Come back to this question later. And when you have finished everything, reread the completed text. Anytime you have gaps in the text, when you fill it, all the gaps, when you complete it, reread and make sure it has sense according to the context and according to the grammar. Do not leave any blanks. Sometimes you may guess the correct answer. So let's practice. That is a very short text that you, and it looks the same as you will have at your exam. So we have short text with 5 gaps. And your task is to fill in these gaps by choosing the correct option, the correct answer. You have 4 options, and what is tricky about this task is that these 4 options sometimes are, some of them might be synonyms to each other, or some of them might have very similar meaning, yes, to each other. So that is why it's difficult. So let's go to the number 1. As usual, I would ask you to give your answers to the chat, so it makes easier to communicate with you. Going to the theater brings back memories as it gap me of my very first performance on stage. And I see already the answers. We are so fast. Yes, and the correct answer, I see the correct answer, so let me show it. And that is B, reminds me of. First of all, if we talk about meaning, recognize means to know something, yes, to be able to know someone. Recall means to remember something. Memories is like a noun. That's about something we remember. And remind, that is to make someone remember something. If we talk about the meaning, if we talk about the grammar, then it's even easier, because if we talk about grammar, only one variant is possible, that is remind, because we use remind of something. We cannot say recognize of something, we cannot say recall of something, we can only say remind of something. That is why you need to learn the words together with the prepositions and so on. Okay, on stage, gap was 30 years ago. Let me read. If it's not difficult, yes, put me the number and then your answer, so it makes easier to check. So here we need the reference to the performance. So here is the gap. It refers to performance. So we need a relative pronoun which describes performance, and that is only which, yes? So we use which to talk about something, to describe something, for example, some event or something. We use when to talk about time, where to talk about place, and who to talk about people. So we have performance, only which is possible. Okay, let's go to number 3. I think number 3 is the trickiest one here, but it's very common for a ZNO exam. Okay, what do you think in number 3? Let me check your answers. C, any other guesses? So we have onlookers, viewers, audience, spectators. And these words, sometimes they can be interchangeable. So they can be used for the same context. But onlookers, these are curious people who are just observing some events or incidents or even accidents. Це ось ці такі дуже такі зацікавлені в яких подіях. Viewers, we usually use this word to talk about TV viewers. Yes, for example, my parents are TV viewers. Audience, we talk about people who go to public events like play, performance, concert, film. When we talk about culture. And spectators, these are almost the same, but we use this word to talk about sports events, yes, or some games, for example. If we talk about football, these are spectators, not audience. So the only possible variant here, that is audience, yes, that is C, because we talk about theater. But all these words are synonyms. Number 4, which, and we have 4. What can be here? B, be attentive. In B, we have age, not ages. Will remain with me for gap. For a while, it means for a short period of time. But here he talks that it was so memorable that it will remain with me for, and it should be a long period. Time, for time, it means for some time, so it doesn't suit us. For a while means for a short period, it doesn't suit the context. For ages might be, yes, but we have age, we don't have ages, like forever, for ages or for a long time. But here is the only possible variant, that is for life. So the answer for life means like for the rest of someone's life, for the rest of my life. Okay. As you see, sometimes you can use like this deduction to find the correct answer. And the last one, the rehearsals were far from satisfactory because we thought we could just have 2 rehearsals in a week. Gap, in fact, we needed more. Okay, who knows that set expression? That is actually a set expression. Number A. So they had only 2 rehearsals when, oh, I said these right answers. When in fact. So guys, try to remember that when in fact, like this combination of words, when in fact, has the same meaning as conjunction but or although. So when in fact equals but. So, and it it suits our context. So as you may see, some of the answers can be guessed. Like some of the answers you need to be like attentive, like for life or for ages, yes. And for some of the tasks, of course, you need to know this tiny difference between audience, viewers, spectators. We will talk about these confusing words in some of our webinars. But anyway, it's a good way to prepare for ZNO when you learn the word and when you learn some other synonyms to this word. Okay, and let's go to the last section of our ZNO exam, that is writing. Actually, in order to do this writing, you only need 30-35 minutes if you do it, if you have some strategy. So the main point here is strategy. The maximum, like they ask you to write 150 words, but anyway, you can do it more. They don't suggest, they don't recommend having fewer words. Why? Because 150 words are just okay in order to answer the questions that they suggest in their task. So what is the task? So there might be a task to write an informal letter, like to your friend, a semi-formal letter, for example, to an editor, or like to, I don't know, to any magazines, maybe to some publishing house, or it might be a formal letter. That's when you write to the person that you don't know, or for example, when you're applying for a job, or when you like a letter of complaint. So that is a letter to a person you don't know. Actually, what can be the tips? I put some strategy, yes, of what to do, what to start with. For example, we have this task, yes, right? You have a letter, so write the letter like to answer these 3 questions. So in every task, in any writing task, you will have 3, let's call them subtopics that you will need to talk about in your letter. So you see there are 3: where you traveled, what kind of traveling, give some pieces of advice. So in any letter, in any writing task, you will have these 3 subtopics, and that is the most important that you need to pay attention to in your writing. What to do with them? So you have the task, what to do, yes, what to start with. First of all, read the task and the subtopics. Read the subtopics carefully. So these 3 questions that they ask you. And try to think what information you need to include. That is the content. That is number 1. That is most important. Content is important. So think what information you need to include in your letter. Then decide what type of a letter you need to write. Yes, so should it be an informal, formal, or semi-formal? That you will see from your task. It will be, if the task says write a letter to your friend, then it is informal. If it says write a letter to an editor, that will be semi-formal. If it says apply for a job, then of course it will be a formal letter. So decide it before writing, not while writing, not after writing. Decide it before writing a draft. Then, of course, create a plan or a scheme. Remember that any letter should be comprised of 5, let's say, points. So there should be greeting, introduction, main body, closing remarks, and ending. So write this scheme to yourself. So make sure that you don't skip anything. So you may even make it like a scheme, not a plan, but a scheme. Then define the verb tenses that you need to use in order to answer this question. For example, if you're asked to tell your friend, for example, about your last holidays, decided before writing, okay, then I need to use past simple in order to describe what I did last summer. Yes, so if, for example, they're asking about your plans, I will need to use some future forms. So decided before writing, not to correct that after writing, yes. Then write a draft. Remember that on your paper A, that is the paper with all your tasks, you can do whatever. You can write a draft, you can underline, you can correct, it will not be assessed. So first, write a draft. And then, of course, proofread it for grammar and vocabulary mistakes. So check it, proofread it, and only after that, rewrite your fair copy, чистовик, to your this answer sheet. Only after that. And of course, on your answer sheet, you can also correct something. You can reread it again if you have time. So when you are ready, yes, you should know what criteria you are assessed. Yes, according to what criteria your writing will be assessed. Actually, everything is very easy. There are 7 criteria. For each criteria, you can get 2 points, maximum 2 points, and overall you can get 14 points. So first 3 criteria are the same, as you may see. Content of subtopic 1, content of subtopic 2, content of subtopic 3. They assess whether you have answered these 3 questions. They count that you answer each subtopic if you have at least 2 sentences for each subtopic. So make sure that you have at least 2 sentences devoted to each subtopic. So if you write about these three subtopics, about like if you answer these three questions for each with at least 2 sentences, then you can get 6 points. So that is the most important one, I suppose, and that is not difficult to do because you can understand the task and you can give the answer, yes? Then logic and cohesion. That is about the structure and how you link ideas. So your ideas should be logically connected to each other and they should be logically organized. Yes, we will talk about the structure of each letter during our next webinars, but remember that it should have structure, there should be some specific parts, and all ideas should be connected with these cohesive devices, like linking words, like however, nevertheless, to begin with, to sum up, or whatever. Yes, we will look at them. Then they can be used like with conjunctions, and, but, so, yet, although. Yes, so if you connect your ideas, then you will get 2 points. For example, logical. Yes, if you start talking about your last holiday, never talk about what you like ate for breakfast. So it should be logical and it should be like connected. Then appropriate register. Remember that if you are asked to write an informal letter, then it should be an informal letter. If you are asked to write a formal letter, then it should be a formal letter. Yes, we will talk with you like in detail what language you need to use and what you need to avoid. For example, in formal letters, you would never use contractions, скорочення, like can't, not, there is, yes. But in informal letter, it's a very good idea to use contractions, phrasal verbs, idioms, like some colloquial words. So that's a good idea for informal letter. But you will get minus point if you do that for a formal letter. So you need to mind that. And of course, you will be checked according, like your vocabulary and grammar will be checked. But very good use here. If you even make up to three mistakes for vocabulary, you can even get 2 points. So you're allowed, not allowed, but it's okay if you make up to 3 vocabulary mistakes and up to 8 grammar mistakes. It's okay. Anyway, you can get 2 points for each of these criteria, even if you have these mistakes. But if you have 0 points either for vocabulary or for grammar, then your whole piece of writing will be 0. That is something not very good. So please mind your like vocabulary and grammar. So if you get 0 for vocabulary, then the whole piece of writing will be 0. If you get 0 for grammar, then you will get 0 for the whole work. Also, if you don't answer all these first 3 criteria, then you also get 0. Yes, they don't need any text. They need the text they are asked you about. Yes, so they need answers to these 3 subtopics. And also, if you get 0 to 1 of these 3 first criteria, then you can get only maximum 1 for vocabulary part. So you can read all those requirements. I understand that is something difficult because I talk about some figures. So you can read all those requirements on those websites that I provided you before. So guys, actually that is all that I wanted to tell you about. But anyway, yes, you have enough time to prepare. Let me say so. Yes, if you studied language before, then now it's okay. Like if you still have enough time. You still have 1.5 months. Yes. So try to surround yourself with English. So if you like playing computer games, then play those computer games in English. If you like reading, then read in English. If you like watching films, then watch in English. So if you like music, listen only to English songs. So try to surround yourself in English everywhere, like maybe even with friends. If you want, if you can play games like board games or communicate with your friends in English, that will be perfect. Then use both course books and training tests for preparation. So if you do only tests from this training like books, it's not enough. No, you need to have course book and training tests. So you need to revise, you need to learn the language, and you need to to try these tests to work out the strategies. So use both. Then don't focus on vocabulary and grammar only. Yes, you need to train your skills like reading, listening, and writing. That is important. As you see, grammar and vocabulary, yes, they are the most important ones. They will help you to understand everything and to write something. But anyway, you should also train your reading and listening skills. Make your preparation systematic. That's Like I think that is recommendation for all types of exams. So it should be systematic, especially with English, because we can simply forget something and very fast. And try to make your like preparation very interesting. You are very lucky to have so many online sources. So use them as much as possible. So don't be afraid. It can be fun. Like, I mean, preparation can be interesting. Preparation can be fun if you like use some modern online sources. I would also like, yes, I talked about some course books. So I suggest, that we shouldn't use that words that used in topic. That's true. That's right. Yes, you cannot. We will talk about that during our webinars about writing. You cannot rewrite something that is written in your task. It's a bad idea. So you cannot rewrite anything that is written on your task. I think that my colleague will answer the next question. So here are the books, the course books that are actually good for preparation. You can take a screenshot. You can find them maybe somewhere on the internet, or you can buy them. You can maybe take from some of your friends. Pay attention that this book, Oxford Exam Trainer, there are two variants for B1 and B2. And it's very good because it includes some writing tasks at the end. This one, use of English, it's very good for revising vocabulary, really. For these tricky words like spectators, audience, and so on, this book is very good for training these tricky words. So if you confuse these words, this book is very good. Get 200, it's very great in all aspects. Long one exam accelerator also. Focus on exams. It's also a very good source because it is also adapted to different levels. So if you have even level A2, they have a book for level A2. So if you even have level A2, you can find the book for your level. Activate your grammar and vocabulary is like precious in terms of grammar. If you want to pass your B2 ZNO and you need to revise grammar, then use this book. It usually it has very wonderful tasks and explanations. And also I will share this QR code with you. You can scan and find even more sources online for listening, especially with different podcasts and some grammar training tests and some vocabulary training tests. So feel free to scan it. I think my colleague can send the link to the chat. So if you have any questions, you can type me to the chat. If not, then I hope to see you next Sunday at 2 p.m. for more. We will talk with you about grammar and about vocabulary, and we will do more practice. We will have more practice. Okay, thank you guys, and goodbye. Thank you a lot.